Senator Bernie Sanders and Democratic Representative Ro Khanna have announced a new joint legislation that each of them has introduced in their respective chambers, Sanders in the Senate, Khanna in the House. It's called the Stop Walmart Act. And what it's going to do is prevent corporations like Walmart from engaging in stock buyback if they're not paying their employees $15 an hour. Basically, if you're not paying your employees a living wage. Right now, the starting wage for a worker in a Walmart is $11 an hour, which amounts to about $19,000 per year, well below the poverty level for a family of 3. So Walmart is paying poverty wages. Taxpayers in those areas end up subsidizing those workers through the form of food stamps and other Medicaid programs like that. So, much like they did with Amazon with the Stop Bezos Act, Sanders and Khanna are coming after Walmart, hoping to recreate the same success that they had with Amazon. Here's the thing. We know right now that corporations are engaging in massive stock buybacks. That's actually what they have invested most of their tax cut money in. It's not giving workers raises. It's not increasing their benefits. It's not expanding their company and hiring new people. It's on stock buybacks, which only enrich the shareholders and the CEOs of those corporations. Walmart itself announced a $20 billion stock buyback recently after getting their tax cut. You know how much it would cost Walmart to pay all of their employees a minimum of $15 an hour plus benefits, which this legislation calls for? It would cost them $3.8 billion a year. But they were going to spend $20 billion buying back their own stock this year. So doing what this legislation would call for would actually save them money, would increase local revenues, would force other employers in those areas to raise their wages to remain competitive. Consumers would have more money to spend, which they will. Studies show that people who, make under, I think about $100,000, $80,000 a year, typically spend 100% of their paycheck. So even increasing their wages, they're still going to spend it all. They just might be able to now spend money on going out to dinner once a month, getting those car repairs done that they've been putting off for 3 months because they couldn't afford it. All of those things, no matter how small, create more economic activity in a certain area. Bernie Sanders understands that, Ro Khanna understands that, and a handful of Democrats in D.C. understand it, but not enough people understand how that works. This isn't about punishing a company. This is about making sure that workers are taken care of so that they can go out and increase economic activity. This isn't about, showing a corporation how much power the politicians have. It's about showing a corporation what can happen to communities when people make a living wage. And yes, part of it is also about making sure that we start to close that gap between the haves and the have-nots. The bigger that gap gets, the worse the economic activity in an area becomes. Again, Sanders and Khanna understand this. They also understand how much success they had with the Stop Bezos Act without ever having to pass it. They used the bully pulpit, they used their microphone, they used their positions to get Amazon to change its ways without ever having to pass the legislation. That is a remarkable feat. These two men are out there doing what everyone in Washington, D.C. should be doing, and what a lot of the newcomers in D.C. are planning to do as well. We got a big progressive wave that came into Congress that's going to be sworn in January, and they're going to jump on this legislation as well. We need more fighters out there like this, and we just got a whole new set of recruits elected in the midterms. So hopefully, much like the Stop Bezos Act, this one doesn't even have to come to a vote. Hopefully, Walmart and all the other companies that are targeted by this, because it would affect a lot of them, hopefully they understand that if they give their workers a little bit more, everyone, including the CEOs of those companies, will make more money. It is a win-win no matter how you slice it. All the shareholders have to do is take a small temporary hit, and then in a few months, they'll be making even more money because they took care of their employees who now have more money to go out and spend in the local communities. And God forbid, maybe they have enough money to pay for their prescription drugs or pay for their rent or pay for medical care or dental care or car repairs. We have to start taking care of one another. That is the mentality that's been missing from corporate America for far too long. But luckily, people like Sanders and Khanna and all these newcomers to the House of Representatives, they understand that that's important, and they understand that that is the only way this country is going to get better.